Today we're talking about lesson plans, and in this video I'm going to share with you an application that has over 120 lesson plans that you can use in your classroom today. Hello, welcome back to my channel, Charlie's Lessons, and thank you for coming by to watch another video. Now recently I hit 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel, so I wanted to say thank you to every one of you that subscribed. It means a lot. In teaching, sharing is really caring, and when it comes to lesson plans, the more we share, the better. Now, when you are teaching full-time, you really appreciate a good lesson plan because it can save you both time and ensure that your students have a meaningful experience in the classroom. This app has lesson plans for literally everyone. So it doesn't matter if you're teaching kids online, if you're teaching kids face-to-face, teaching adults, teaching conversation classes, teaching business English classes, it has you covered. So if you can't find a lesson plan on this app for your class, then what are you actually teaching? Well, I actually teach Ecuadorian plumbers on the intricacies of the sewage disposal system online. Yeah, sorry, nobody has lesson plans for you. Now, one more thing I want to say before we start taking a look at the app itself is that I know that sometimes we can find a great lesson plan that looks on paper like it's perfect. But then when you take it into the classroom, you don't get the response that you expected from your students. So that's why I've taken some of these lesson plans and I've used them with groups that I teach in my school. So first, let's take a look at how we get set up with the Teachers app. We start this by visiting peacheypublications.com and we click on Try Our Teachers app for free. This gives us the teacher subscription options. Once you've chosen one, you can also have a 14-day trial of the app. They do ask for your credit card details, but you can always cancel before the 14 days are up. Which reminds me, I do need to cancel my Netflix account. Once you've signed up and you get the download link for the app, you can put the application onto your desktop computer or you can download it onto your phone. This means it's a lot easier to access all the lesson plans and resources that are available on the app. Now that we've got the apps installed on our computer and our phone, let's take a look inside. We'll be looking at the desktop version of the app. When we open the app, the first thing we see is the What's New section. So this is all the latest lesson plans that have been released via the app. Next along are resources. These are essentially all the lesson plans that we can use in our classes. Next are videos. Now these are primarily for teacher trainers. So this is perfect for teachers that are looking to advance in their knowledge and methodology in the classroom. Next along is a toolbox. Now these are a list of apps for both teachers and students. Some of these I am familiar with, but some of them I'm not. So this has been great for me as I'm interested in EdTech and all the tools that you can give to students. So I've spent a lot of time looking at what's available on here too. Now here is where I spend most of my time as a teacher, in resources. This is where all the lesson plans are. To give you an idea of what's available to you as a teacher, if we just go to filter, here you can see a list of all the categories that the lesson plans fall under. So you can see we've got business English, conversation listening, teacher resource books, young learner resources, a little bit of everything. So one of the first lesson plans I used on this website was with younger learners, and it was about the weather. So let's take a look. So once I've navigated to the lesson plan on the app, I usually have two links, the teacher's guide and the classroom materials. Clicking on either of these produces a PDF, which is great because then I can later print it if I want to take some of the materials into class. Once I've got the teacher's guide open, then there is a step-by-step guide on how exactly I need to carry out this lesson plan. The first page usually includes the level, a brief description of the class, the time that's required to complete the class, and the links to any online resources that are required. Now the lesson plan was pretty complete, to be honest. We had the typical introduction of the weather via flashcards. You know how much I like flashcards. Then we had a Pelmanism activity, which I found that my students really enjoyed. This is great because we can actually do this on an online class. I did actually do this class in a face-to-face class, but we were managed to play this game together. I had students come up and click on the mouse to select a card, but I also had it projected onto the whiteboard, so students could come up and select a card on the whiteboard. Let's see if we can get one first time.
It's cloudy.
It's cloudy.
It's windy.
It's windy.
It's cold.
It's cold.
It's cloudy.
It's cloudy.
It's windy.
Oh no. I'm not very good at this game. After some vocabulary input and some games, we had a speaking activity, which is something that I always like to do in my classes. And one of the great things that we use that comes with this lesson plan was a recording activity. Now what I did was I took my microphone from home and we practiced saying these phrases into the website. And it's very good at picking up the correct pronunciation. So for example, if I say, I like summer. See, I got it wrong. But if I say it nice and properly like the Queen, I like summer. Oh, that was great. Now, it did take my students a few tries to do this. Their pronunciation wasn't exactly the same as mine, and it doesn't have to be. But eventually they got recognized by the application. And my students really felt like a sense of pride on having their utterances recognized by the website. So that was a really fun activity for my students. Now, apart from that final speaking activity where they're recording the voices of the students, all of that lesson plan could have been conducted online via Zoom. So that's great because you can use it in both classrooms. Now, moving on to teen students. Whenever I teach teens, I always try to do lots of role play activities. And I find with teenagers, role plays really work. And this is a great thing about this app. So let's take a look at one that I've used with my teens recently that really worked. So the lesson plan I used with my teens was part of the image lesson plans or image scenarios that are available on the app. This one was called The Guide, and it comes with this beautiful photo of two men looking over a sand dune. Now, these image lesson plans or scenarios usually start with an exploration activity of the photo itself. With my teen classes, these activities can sometimes work and they sometimes don't. It really depends on how willing the students are to speak and also the mood they're in that day. Some classes, when we're describing images, students are very forthcoming, they give a lot of information. The day we did this class, I didn't get very much out of them, even with 9 questions. So we quickly moved on to the next slide. This is the part that my students really enjoyed, which was the role play. One of the great things about this classroom material that we use to show to the students is that the students can access the material on their phone by using these QR codes. If I take my QR code reader from my phone and I want to take one of the role play cards, I just go like this, and here's the role play card on my phone. Now, it gives the role play cards at random, but in the class we did the other day, these are the role play cards that were chosen. The first student who scanned the QR code got this role card, which was, he doesn't want to explore, he feels very tired, he wants to go home now, he's hungry and wants something to eat, which is probably how my students feel most days, to be honest. Then the second role card for the other student, that you're working with kidnappers and you're waiting. The kidnapper's on the other side of the sand dune and they must not see you. So the student had to persuade the other person to walk to the top of the sand dune that the kidnappers could take him or her. So as soon as this role card got given to the student, I could see the interest and the engagement suddenly peaked and they really wanted to do this role play together. Now, what I should have done in hindsight is given the students some more information, some more language to work around the role play. Because what eventually happened was this. I'm hungry. Get up the hill. I'm hungry. Go. I'm hungry. Go up the hill. I want to go home. Do you want to go up the hill? I'm hungry. The next lesson plan I used was a video short, which there are lots available on the Teachers app. I used this with an adult group of about a B1 level, and it was on the theme of shopping. Here I am now back on the app, and you can see that I'm looking at a lesson plan I used for my adult class the other day on consumerism, but I've also filtered for all the video short lessons that are available on the Teachers app. One of the great things about the videos that are included in all of these lessons is that they usually don't contain dialogue, which makes them great for English language lessons because it means they're open for interpretation. Now, as you can see, the class starts in a similar fashion to the previous one with a series of discussion questions on the topic of the lesson. I did use this with a conversation class, so this worked perfectly with my group. The video is embedded into the classroom material, so you can either open it via the materials or go directly to YouTube and open it up there. There's also QR codes so the students can watch the movie on their own devices. We then worked through the discussion questions on the video, and what I did here was I tried to replicate the Cambridge part 3 tasks where the students have to compare different options and come to a decision. So although I have these discussion questions at the bottom, I actually tweaked it a little bit so that it was more similar to the Cambridge style speaking task. At the end of most of these lesson plans, there is a reflection stage, which I am a fan of, but it really can be a bit hit and miss with some students. I think that's more to do with the fact that students are not really used to reflecting about what they've learned in the class, but I do think it's a good idea. Now that we've seen how we use all the lesson plans for all the different age groups and types of classes that we might teach in an academy, I think it's a good time now to look at the benefits and drawbacks of using this app for your classes. One of the things I really like about these lesson plans are the images. I don't know where he finds them, but they're great. And great images encourage even better discussion from the students. So this is definitely a plus. Another thing I really like about them are the video shorts. I love using videos in class, and especially ones that have no dialogue, as this leaves the space for students to really discuss and interpret the videos as they wish. The role plays are also excellent, especially for teen classes, as I mentioned earlier. There is actually a resource on the Teachers app about 30 great role plays for the TEFL class, which I really recommend. One of the drawbacks I found using this app with my classes was that I use them primarily to supplement my course books or my regular classes. The topics on these lesson plans are very unique, and it can be difficult sometimes to make a link between the lesson plans and the course book that I was using. There's a lot of content still to be added to the app, I'm sure. At the moment, the majority of lesson plans available are for adult and teen classes. The resources for young learners still need to be improved upon, so if you do teach primarily young learners, then maybe this app is not going to help you right now, but I'm sure in the future they'll be adding more young learner resources. So there you have it, an app that goes on your phone that can give you some great lesson plans and ideas for your classes. I can just imagine myself sitting on the bus or the train going to work, not having planned 1 or 2 classes, and just being able to pull up a lesson plan on my phone and just give me that idea I need for that day. So if you're interested, visit the website and give it a go. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and I'll see you in the next video.